I was looking at a $12,000 charge on my credit card statement when my son called to tell me I wasn't invited to the family cruise. The same cruise I'd apparently just paid for without knowing it. "Dad, hey," Michael said, his voice that careful tone he uses when he's about to tell me something I won't like. "I wanted to give you a heads up about the Caribbean trip in March. We've decided to keep it to immediate family only this year. You know, me, Jen, the kids, her parents, her brother's crew. We thought it might be easier that way." I stared at the charge. Royal Caribbean, March 15th departure. $12,300. Charged to the credit card I'd given Michael 2 years ago for emergencies. The same credit card that was supposed to be for emergencies only. "I'm looking at the charge right now," I said. "The $12,000 charge on my Visa." There was silence. Then, "Oh, yeah. I was going to mention that. I was going to pay you back, obviously. It's just, we had to book fast to get the cabins, and my card was maxed out from Christmas, and Jen said you wouldn't mind." "Let me get this straight," I said slowly. "You booked a family cruise on my credit card, spent $12,000 of my dollars, and now you're calling to tell me I'm not invited because I'm not immediate family? Dad, you know what I mean. It's just, you're 72. Some of the activities are pretty demanding. We didn't want you to feel left out or like you were slowing everyone down. It's a younger crowd kind of thing." I hung up, sat there at my kitchen table looking at that charge. Then I picked up the phone and called my credit card company. "I'd like to report a fraudulent charge," I said. "My name is Robert Chen. I'm 72 years old. I retired 10 years ago after running my own accounting firm for 40 years. My wife Margaret died from cancer 6 years ago. Since then, I've lived alone in our 3-bedroom house in Evanston, Illinois. I play tennis 3 times a week. I volunteer at the VA hospital every Tuesday. Last summer, I built a deck on the back of my house by myself because I was bored and needed a project. I'm in better shape than half the men I know who are 50. My son Michael is 38. He's a pharmaceutical sales manager. Makes decent money, around $90,000 a year. Married to Jennifer, a woman who smiles when she wants something and scowls when she doesn't get it. They have 2 kids, Emma, who's 10, and Noah, who's 7. Good kids. I see them maybe once a month if Michael remembers to return my calls. I paid for Michael's college. Business degree from Northwestern. $60,000. I gave him $25,000 for his wedding. I gave him another $20,000 for the down payment on his house 3 years ago when he said they were struggling. And now he'd just spent $12,000 of my money on a vacation I wasn't invited to because I was too old. The credit card company put me on hold. I sat there thinking about the last time I'd seen Michael. 2 weeks ago at Emma's soccer game. I'd driven 40 minutes to watch her play. Michael hadn't shown up. Too busy, he'd texted. Work thing. Jennifer had been there, standing with the other moms, barely acknowledging me when I said hello. When Emma scored a goal, I'd cheered louder than anyone. She'd run over after the game and hugged me. "Grandpa, did you see? Did you see my goal?" "I saw it, sweetheart. You were amazing." "Mr. Chen?" The credit card rep came back on the line. "Yes?" "I've reviewed the charge. It was made with your card number, but you're saying you didn't authorize it?" "That's correct. My son used my card without permission." "I see. We can start a dispute process, but I have to inform you that if the cardholder is family, this becomes a civil matter rather than fraud. So you're saying I just have to eat $12,000? Not necessarily. You can request the charge be reversed, and if the merchant agrees, we'll process it. But if your son disputes the reversal, you'd need to resolve it directly with him or through legal means. I thought about it. Michael would fight it. He'd call me unreasonable. Jennifer would get involved, make me out to be the bad guy. Emma and Noah would hear about it. Family drama, exactly what Margaret always hated. Fine, I said. Leave the charge. But I want a new card number. The old one's been compromised. Of course, sir. We'll have a new card to you within 5 business days. I hung up. $12,000. Gone. And I wasn't even invited. I sat there for maybe 10 minutes just staring at that charge. Then I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I opened my laptop and Googled the cruise. Royal Caribbean, Harmony of the Seas, 7-day Caribbean, March 15th through 22nd. I found the booking page. Looked at the cabins. Michael had booked 2 ocean view rooms. One for his family, one for Jennifer's parents. Each room was about $3,000. Then I saw what else was on the manifest. Jennifer's brother and his wife. Another $3,000. All on my card. I scrolled down to the available cabins. Most of the ship was booked. But there was one thing still available. The owner's suite. Top deck. 3 bedrooms, living room, dining room, 2 bathrooms, private balcony, butler service. $18,000. I picked up my phone and called my daughter Lisa. She answered on the second ring. Dad, hey, what's up? What are you doing March 15th through 22nd? I'd have to check my calendar. Why? Because I'm taking you, Tom, and Sophie on a cruise. What? I just found out Michael booked a Caribbean cruise on my credit card, spent $12,000 of my money. Then he called to tell me I'm not invited because I'm too old. Lisa was quiet for a moment. He did what? I told her everything. The charge, the phone call, the too old comment. When I finished, she said, Dad, that's insane. I know. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm booking the owner's suite on the same ship. $18,000, 3 bedrooms. You, Tom, and Sophie are coming with me. My treat. And we're going to have the best vacation of our lives while Michael realizes what a mistake he made. Dad, you don't have to do that. Yes, I do. So, are you in? She laughed. It was the first time I'd heard her laugh in weeks. Hell yes, I'm in. Good. I'll send you the details. Book your flights to Fort Lauderdale for March 14th. I'll cover those too. Dad, this is too much. Lisa, your mother and I saved for 40 years. I have more money than I know what to do with. Let me spend it on people who actually want me around. She was quiet. Then she said, Okay, thank you. No, I said, thank you. I hung up and booked the suite. Confirmation came through 10 minutes later. Owner's Suite, Deck 16, March 15th through 22nd, $18,000. Paid in full. I printed the confirmation and put it in a folder. Then I sent Michael a text. Got your message about the cruise, understood. Have a great time, he responded immediately. Thanks, Dad. I knew you'd get it. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I put my phone down and went to bed. The next 2 months were quiet. Michael didn't call. I didn't reach out. Lisa and I talked every few days, planning the trip, laughing about what Michael's face would look like when he saw me. I bought new clothes, linen shirts, lightweight pants, a Panama hat. Margaret always said made me look distinguished. I signed up for excursions, snorkeling in Cozumel, zip lining in Jamaica, a helicopter tour in Grand Cayman. Every activity Michael thought I was too old for. March 14th came. I flew to Fort Lauderdale, met Lisa, Tom, and Sophie at the airport. Sophie ran to me screaming Grandpa, and I picked her up and spun her around. Lisa hugged me. You ready for this? I grinned. I've never been more ready for anything in my life. We stayed at a hotel that night near the port. The next morning, we took a car service to the terminal. I was wearing one of my new linen shirts, white with thin blue stripes. Lisa had on a sundress. Tom carried Sophie on his shoulders. We checked in at the Diamond Club desk, the concierge service that came with the owner's suite. A woman in a crisp uniform smiled at us. "Mr. Chen, welcome aboard the Harmony of the Seas. We're so pleased to have you. Your suite is ready. Let me escort you to the priority boarding line." We skipped the regular line entirely, walked straight onto the ship. The suite was on deck 16, forward. The escort opened the door, and I heard Sophie gasp. The living room was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean, a dining table that sat 8, a full bar. 3 bedrooms, each with its own bathroom. The master had a king bed and a balcony. Sophie ran from room to room, screaming. Lisa stood in the living room, shaking her head. "Dad, this is unreal." Tom looked at me. "Robert, you didn't have to go this far." "Yeah," I said. "I really did." We unpacked. I'd brought a bottle of scotch, 25-year-old Macallan, Margaret's favorite. Poured myself a glass and stood on the balcony looking out at the port. Ships all around us, families boarding. Somewhere on this boat was Michael. Somewhere he was settling into his little Ocean View cabin, thinking I was back home in Illinois, feeling sorry for myself. I smiled. He had no idea. The mandatory muster drill was at 4. Everyone on the ship had to attend. We went down to our assembly station on deck 5. I was standing there with my life jacket on when I heard a voice behind me. "Grandpa?" I turned. Emma was staring at me, her mouth open. Her life jacket was crooked. Behind her was Noah, then Jennifer, then Michael. Michael's face went from confused to shocked to pale in about 3 seconds. "Dad?" "Hey, Michael," I said. "Fancy meeting you here? What are you doing here? I'm on the cruise, same as you." "But you said..." I said I understood. "I do. I understand perfectly. You thought I was too old, so I decided to come anyway and prove you wrong." I gestured to Lisa and Tom. "You remember your sister? And Tom? And Sophie? We're all here, staying in the owner's suite. Deck 16. You should come by sometime." Jennifer's face had gone red. "The owner's suite? That's right. 3 bedrooms, private balcony, butler service, the works. Cost about $18,000, but it's worth every penny." Michael looked like he'd been punched. "Dad, we didn't. I know what you didn't do," I said. "You didn't invite me. So I invited myself. And my real family." The drill officer started talking, and everyone had to be quiet. I stood there listening to the safety instructions, while Michael stared at me from 10 feet away. When it was over, I walked past him. "See you at dinner," I said. That night there was a welcome reception. I wore a suit, navy blue, one Margaret had helped me pick out years ago. Lisa wore a cocktail dress. We went to the Windjammer buffet on deck 11. It was crowded, loud, families everywhere. I was getting a plate when I saw Michael and Jennifer at a table near the window. Her parents were there, her brother and his wife. Everyone looked tense. Michael saw me. I waved. He didn't wave back. We ate on our private balcony, steaks from the specialty restaurant delivered by our butler, a guy named Marcus, who treated us like royalty. The sun set over the ocean, orange and pink and perfect. Sophie fell asleep on the couch. Tom carried her to bed. Lisa and I sat there with our drinks. She said, "Mom would have loved this." "I know," I said. "She would have." The next day we were at sea. I'd signed up for the rock climbing wall at 10. It was on deck 15, a 40-foot wall overlooking the back of the ship. I showed up in athletic clothes, 72 years old, ready to climb. The instructor was maybe 30, muscular, covered in tattoos. He looked at me. "You sure about this, sir?" "Positive." "All right, let's get you geared up." There were maybe 15 people there, younger couples, teenagers, a few kids. I strapped into the harness. The instructor, his name was Kyle, explained the route. You're going to follow the blue holds. Take your time. If you need to come down, just let me know. I started climbing, hand over hand, foot over foot. I'd done this before, years ago at an indoor gym Margaret had dragged me to. My arms burned, my legs shook, but I kept going. 30 feet, 35, 40. I reached the top and rang the bell. Below me, people were clapping. I rappelled down. Kyle was grinning. Sir, that was incredible. How old are you? 72. No way. Yes way. I turned around and Michael was standing there, watching, his mouth open. I walked over. Want to try? He shook his head. No, I'm good. Suit yourself. I left him standing there. That afternoon, we docked in Cozumel. I'd booked a snorkeling excursion, 2 hours on a boat out to the reef. Lisa and Tom came. Sophie stayed on the ship with the kids' club. We swam with tropical fish, saw a sea turtle, floated in water so clear you could see 30 feet down. When we got back to the ship, Michael and Jennifer were sitting by the pool. I walked past in my wetsuit, fins in hand. Michael stared. I didn't stop. That night was formal night. I wore my tuxedo. Lisa wore a gown. We ate at the chef's table, a private 10-course meal prepared by the head chef. $200 a person. We drank wine older than Michael. The chef came out personally, explained each course. After dinner, we went to the theater and watched a Broadway show. I saw Michael and Jennifer in the balcony seats. We were in the orchestra section, front row. I didn't acknowledge them. The next day was Jamaica. I'd booked the zip-lining excursion. Mystic Mountain. You ride a ski lift up the mountain, then zip-line back down through the rainforest. Lisa and Tom came. We stood on the platform, hundreds of feet in the air. The guide hooked me into the line. You ready, sir? I was born ready. I jumped, flew through the trees, screaming, laughing, feeling more alive than I had in years. When I landed, Lisa was crying. Happy tears. Dad, she said. Mom's watching. I know, I said. I hope she's proud. We got back to the ship and Michael was waiting at the gangway. Dad, can we talk? I looked at him. Sure. We walked to a quiet spot on deck 6. He said, I'm sorry. For what? For everything. For the email. For using your credit card. For not inviting you. For thinking you were too old. I should have known better. You should have. But you didn't. And now here we are. He looked tired. Older than 38. Jennifer's upset. I bet she is. She thinks you're doing this to embarrass us. I'm not doing this to embarrass anyone. I'm doing this because I'm 72 and I'm not dead. I'm not useless. I'm not too old to zip line or snorkel or climb a wall or go on a damn cruise with my family. And if you can't see that, if Jennifer can't see that, then that's your problem, not mine. He was quiet. Then he said, Can I ask you something? Go ahead. Why the owner's suite? Why spend $18,000 just to prove a point? I looked at him. Michael, your mother and I saved our whole lives. We lived carefully. We didn't take vacations like this. We didn't spend money on ourselves. We saved it for you and Lisa, for the future. And when your mom got sick, when she was dying, you know what she said to me? She said, don't save it anymore. Don't wait. Live. So that's what I'm doing. I'm living. And if that embarrasses you, if that makes Jennifer uncomfortable, I don't care. Because this isn't about you. It's about me. And for the first time in 6 years, I'm doing something just for me. He didn't say anything, just nodded. Then he walked away. I stood there watching the ocean. Marcus found me a few minutes later. Mr. Chen, your table is ready for dinner. Thank you, Marcus. I followed him back to the suite. The rest of the cruise was perfect. Grand Cayman. I took a helicopter tour. Saw the island from the air. Lisa held my hand the whole time. Cozumel again. We went to a beach club. Drank margaritas. Played in the waves. Every night we ate in a different restaurant. Every morning I woke up in that massive bed, looked out at the ocean, and felt grateful. For life. For family. For the chance to prove that 72 isn't the end. On the last night there was a farewell party. Live music. Dancing. I was on my balcony with a scotch when someone knocked. It was Michael. Alone. Can I come in? I stepped aside. He walked onto the balcony. Stood there looking at the ocean. Then he said, I talked to Jennifer. Told her she was wrong. Told her you're family and you should have been invited from the start. She didn't take it well. I imagine not. She thinks I'm choosing you over her. Are you? He smiled. Faintly. Maybe. For the first time in a long time. I didn't say anything. He continued. The kids keep asking why you're in the big room and we're in the small room. I told them Grandpa worked hard his whole life and earned it. Emma said she wants to be like you when she's old. I laughed. She could do worse. Michael turned to me. Dad, I'm sorry. Really sorry. For all of it. I know. And I forgive you. But things are different now. I'm not going to sit around waiting for you to remember I exist. I'm not going to let Jennifer dictate whether I'm part of this family. I'm here, I'm alive, and I'm going to live the rest of my life on my terms. If you want to be part of that, great. If not, I'll be fine. But I won't be invisible anymore. He nodded. I understand. We stood there for a while. Then he said, for what it's worth, watching you climb that wall, watching you zipline, it was... He paused. It was inspiring. I'm proud of you, Dad. Good, I said. Now go spend the last night with your kids. They won't be young forever. He left. We docked in Fort Lauderdale the next morning. Said our goodbyes to Marcus. Tipped him $500. He hugged me. Mr. Chen, it's been an honor. The honor was mine, Marcus. We walked off the ship. Michael was waiting at the terminal with Emma and Noah. Emma ran to me. Grandpa, can I come visit you this summer? Absolutely, sweetheart. She hugged me. I love you, Grandpa. I love you too. Lisa and her family flew back to Seattle. I drove home to Illinois. A week later, I got a call from Michael. Dad, I wanted to let you know Jennifer and I are doing counseling. Good. And I'm setting some boundaries. About what? About you. About the kids. About making sure you're included. I appreciate that, Michael. He was quiet. Then he said, I'm sorry I forgot who you were. I'm sorry I let Jennifer make me forget. I'm glad you remembered. Me too. Things are better now. Not perfect, but better. I see the kids more. Michael calls every week. Jennifer's civil. Polite. We'll never be close, but that's okay. And that cruise, best $18,000 I ever spent. Not because of the suite or the excursions or the food, but because I got to show my son that being 72 doesn't mean giving up. It means living harder, louder, on your own terms. If you've ever been told you're too old, too slow, too much, drop a comment. Tell me your story. Because age is just a number, and life is too short to let anyone, even family, make you feel invisible.